welcome to the House of Hell. This is a little different from previous Fighting Fantasy adventures. You start your adventure unarmed, with no provisions or potions, and you have to avoid being frightened to death. I'm not doing this on my own, because Ali's playing. And now, before embarking on your adventure, you must first determine your own strengths and weaknesses to see how brave, lucky and resourceful you are. You must use the dice to determine your initial skill, stamina and luck score. So on page 18, there's an adventure sheet which you may use to record the details of an adventure. You're just using your pad and paper, aren't you? Mm-hmm. A pad and pencil. Okay, so let us start, shall we, with the dice rolls. What you need to do first off is roll one die and add 6 to the number. And you've got a nice big tray there to roll in.
Believe it or not, it's actually the same number.
It is indeed.
So I'll just...
So it's...
There it is. Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you add 6 to that. And that is your
10.
Initial skill score.
10.
So that's, you've got a skill of 10.
Skill. Okay.
In this adventure your starting skill is less because you are unarmed, but you will have the opportunity to arm yourself. We'll find out how that happens later. Now roll 2 dice and add 12 to the score. Mind that one.
4. 16.
And that is your stamina. Minna. Yes. Now there is also a luck box. Roll 1 die and add 6.
7.
Ooh. This is luck. For reasons that
What's this one?
Luck. For reasons that will be explained below, skill, stamina and luck scores will change constantly during an adventure. Keep an accurate record of these scores, and for this reason you are advised either to write small in the box or keep an eraser handy. Never ever ever rub out the original score.
Okay.
Okay. Although you may be awarded additional skill, stamina and luck points, these totals may never exceed your initial scores, except on very rare occasions when you will be instructed on a particular page. Your skill score reflects your general fighting expertise, the higher the better. Your stamina score reflects the general constitution, your will to survive, your determination and courage. The higher your stamina score, the longer you will be able to survive. Your luck score indicates how naturally lucky a person you are. Luck and evil are facts of life in the devilish domain you're about to explore. Okay, so we move on to battles. You will often come across pages in the book which instruct you to fight ghosts, ghouls, men and beasts. An option to flee may be given, but if not, or if you choose to attack the creature anywhere, you must resolve the battle as described. First record the creature's skill and stamina scores in the first vacant evil encounter box on your adventure sheet. The scores for each creature are given in the book each time you have an encounter. The sequence of combat is then: roll both dice, one for the creature, add its skill score, the total is the creature's attack strength. Roll both dice, once for yourself, add the number rolled to your current skill score. This total is your attack strength. If your attack strength is higher than that of the creature you have wounded it, proceed to step 4. If the creature's attack strength is higher than yours, it has wounded you, proceed to step 5. If both attack strengths totals are the same, you have avoided each other's blows, start the next attack round from step 1. Step 4. You have wounded the creature, so subtract 2 points from its stamina score. You may use your luck here to do additional damage. Step 5. The creature has wounded you, so subtract 2 points from your own stamina score. Again, you may use luck at this stage. Question part 6. Make the appropriate adjustments to either the creature's or your own stamina scores and your luck score if you used luck. Step 7. Begin your next attack round by returning to your current skill score and repeating steps 1 to 6. This sequence continues until the stamina score of either you or the creature you are fighting has been reduced to 0, which means you are dead. Or the monster is. As well as surviving your adventure by ensuring that your stamina never drops below 0, in the House of Hell you must also avoid being frightened to death. Before you begin your adventure, roll 1 die and add 6 to your score.
10.
This total will give you the maximum fear score you can bear. Your fear score is the number of points you can take before being frightened to death. During your adventure you will come across situations where you must, for example, add 1 or 2, etc. fear points. Your fear point starts at 0 and you must add fear points as instructed in the text. If your fear score reaches the maximum as rolled initially, then you're frightened to death and must end your adventure. Note that fear works in the opposite way to normal skill, stamina and luck scores. You start with 0 and increase your fear score towards your maximum rather than subtracting as you do with the other scores. You have the option of escaping. On some pages you may be given the option of running away from a battle should things be going badly for you. However, if you do run away, the creature automatically gets in 1 wound on you, so subtract 2 stamina points as you flee. Such is the price of cowardice. Note that you may use luck on this wound in the normal way. You may only escape if that option is specifically given to you on the page. If you come across more than one creature in a particular encounter, the instructions on that page will tell you how to handle the battle. Sometimes you will treat them as a single monster, sometimes you will fight each in turn. You begin the House of Hell adventure with no weapon. As with other fighting fantasy adventures, your skill score reflects your combat ability with a weapon, so before you start off on your adventure, deduct 3 points from your skill score. And note this starting skill. Do not, however, change your initial skill, as this is still used to determine the maximum skill you have, and is also used if you must make rolls against your skill.
Okay.
If you find a weapon, which will be identified with capital letters during the adventure, the text will tell you how many skill points the weapon allows you to add. These points are added to your starting skill, not your initial skill. At various times during your adventure, either in battles or when you come across situations in which you could either be lucky or unlucky, you may call on your luck to make the outcome more favourable, but beware. Using luck is risky, and if you're unlucky, the results could be disastrous. The procedure for using your luck is as follows. Roll 2 dice. If the number... No, you don't do it now. Only if you're testing your luck.
Okay.
If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky and your result will go in your favour. If the number rolled is higher than your current luck score, you have been unlucky and you will be penalised. This process is known as testing your luck. Each time you test your luck, you must subtract 1 point from your current luck score. Thus, you will soon realise that the more you rely on your luck, the more risky this will become. On certain pages, you will be told to test your luck and will be told the consequences of your being lucky or unlucky. However, in battles, you have always the opportunity of using your luck, either to inflict a more serious wound on a creature you have just wounded, or to minimise the effects of a wound the creature has just inflicted on you. If you have just wounded the creature, you may test your luck as described above. If you are lucky, you have inflicted a severe wound and may subtract an extra 2 points from the creature's stamina score. However, if you're unlucky, the wound was a mere graze and you must restore 1 point to the creature's stamina. So instead of scoring the normal 2 points of damage, he now only scores 1. If the creature has just wounded you, you may test your luck to try to minimise the wound. If you are lucky, you have managed to avoid the full damage of the blow, restore 1 point of damage. i.e. instead of doing 2 points of damage, it's only done 1. If you are unlucky, you have taken a more serious blow, so subtract 1 extra stamina point. Remember, you must subtract 1 point from your own luck score each time you test your luck. Restoring skill, stamina, luck and fear. Your skill, stamina and luck scores may change during the adventure. Your skill will increase from starting skill if you find a weapon. Your stamina will drain as you fight creatures and may be restored by eating or resting as instructed by the text. Your luck will run out as you must deduct 1 luck point each time you test your luck. Occasionally, a particularly lucky find or encounter may restore some of your luck. Your fear score is built up as you go through the adventure. Each time you get frightened, you will add to your fear score. Occasionally, when you get the opportunity to relax, the text may instruct you to deduct points from your fear score. Note that any bonuses you are rewarded can never be used to exceed your initial skill, stamina and luck scores, nor make your fear score a minus number. Now, there is only one true way through the House of Hell, and it will take you several attempts to find it. Make notes and draw a map as you explore. This map will be invaluable in future adventures and enable you to progress rapidly through the unexplored sections. Remember to make a note of any advice you receive and write down any messages or special reference numbers you are given. Some rooms are death traps and others are chambers of horror, so be warned. It should be realised that entries make no sense if read in numerical order. It is essential that you read only the entries you are instructed to read. The one true way involves a minimum of risk, and any player, no matter how weak our initial dice rolls, should be able to get through fairly easily. May the power of good go with you. Okay, so here is the background. The rain spatters the windscreen relentlessly. You can see no more than a watery gloom as you strain forward over the steering wheel to see the road ahead. Although the wipers flap valiantly, they are fighting a losing battle as the rain drives harder and harder. Your foot eases off the accelerator. The headlights struggle to light up the road. Damn, you curse the white-haired old man who sent you off along this bumpy track. Probably meant the second turning on the left, or even a right turning, the old fool. Perhaps this is his idea of a joke. After all, didn't you notice a mischievous glint in his eye? Something vaguely sinister? But what sort of nonsense is this? So you've taken a wrong turn and got caught in a downpour in the night. The rain will ease off soon. It can't possibly keep up this deluge for long, and then you'll be able to... Watch out! You spin the wheel frantically to the left to avoid the figure who from nowhere shows up in the headlights. The car bumps and jolts as it bounces over the rocky roadside and thumps into a ditch. You collect your thoughts. You are unhurt but shaken. Then you remember what has happened. The body. You must have hit the figure which appeared. There was no way you could have avoided him. You spring out of your car, praying that he's still alive. Your clothes soak up the rain as you hobble back to the road. In the darkness, it's difficult to see anything, but there is no sign of a body. You consider the situation. Are you certain that it was someone and not a trick of the light? Yes, you can remember the arms held up in fright as the car collided, and the look of anguish on his face. His face. There was something familiar about that face. A man you recognised. An old man with white hair. Your heart leaps. No, impossible. With a shiver of fear you race back to the car, jump inside, force the key in the ignition and twist it violently. The starter coughs, splutters and dies. You hit the key again, but this time a single shudder is all the engine can manage. You grab the wheel with your hands and shake it desperately as if to force some life into the car. But the battery is dead. Your car is certainly not budging from the ditch tonight. Your situation is hopeless, but now the plight of your car is paramount. Where can you get help? You passed a garage at Mingleford, but that was some 20 miles away. As if in answer, a light appears in the distance. Someone has switched on a bedroom light. What a stroke of luck. It was at least 15 miles back that you passed the last house, and you happened to have broken down just a short distance from someone's home. You button up your coat and open the door. From outside the car you can see the building more clearly. Just ahead, on the left. A drive winds up to a large house. It's a good 5 minutes walk away, and by the time you reach it, you'll be drenched. But how else can you call the garage? You can't afford to miss tomorrow's appointment. No, go you must. Anyway, you'll probably be able to dry off inside after phoning the garage. You slam the door, turn up your collar and set off for the house. A flash of lightning lights up the clearing for you, but in your preoccupation with the rain, the warning from above is wasted on you. The house is old, very old, and in a shock state of repair. The light in the window is flickering, most likely an oil lamp. Certainly not electric. And you don't notice a fact that might have turned you back anyway. There is no telephone line going to the house. As you climb the steps to the front door, little do you realise what fate has in store for you. Tonight is going to be a night to remember.
Just got a shiver. Literally just got a shiver.
And we'll start the game in the next episode. So from Ali.
As always, keep smiling, keep imagining, and keep believing. And believe in the good.
And from me, take care, God bless, and bye for now.